The City of Bowling Green is a growing community. Every year there are new developments that make our city better, safer, and more friendly. Currently, multiple changes are occurring to make Bowling Green more pedestrian accessible. The two main components of improving pedestrian access are the development of many miles of new sidewalks around the city and the installation of downtown signals that have a pedestrian friendliness improving component. Rodney McGahee, Project Manager for the Public Works Department, is the Downtown Signal Project Manager.
The main components of the Downtown Signal Project are going to be new poles and mast arms, as well as new LED signal heads, and also we're putting in new pedestrian poles with countdown signals on those as well. And also we're going to get new controllers and cabinets to control the signals, and ADA compliant ramps at the corners of each intersection.
Traditional signals around the downtown area consist of strand wires to hold the lights in place. The new signals that are being installed include pole and mast arm configurations. These new units will also come with multiple other enhancements.
The types of improvements that should be expected, the old system, the way that controllers were set up, you had to control that intersection from that controller, and it was remote. You couldn't do anything with it. It's isolated from all the others. With the new controllers, the way the software is set up, Public Works will be able to control all the intersections and the traffic moving through them from a desktop PC there. And it's all in one big network so that we can control traffic. The benefit of the pole and mast arm configuration versus the existing pole and strain wire configuration that we have is the new poles and mast arms are made of steel. They're a lot more durable. They're going to last a lot longer. Lifespan is going to be a lot longer. They're not going to be as affected with high winds. The actual signals are going to be fixed there. That way you don't have the strain wire going this way, going that way whenever the winds are pushing the signal heads around. That's going to be one of the biggest bonuses from that, as well as you have to look at the aesthetics. You know, you're taking down some of the overhead strain wire from, overhead the intersection there, and it's going to be a nice looking pole, and it's going to help with the aesthetics. Most of the signals that we have now have incandescent bulbs, and once they blow, they're out, which creates a safety hazard. With the new LED heads, they're more visible, and when they start to go out, there's tiny little crystals. They just get dimmer little by little, which gives us more time to catch the problem and fix it before it becomes a safety hazard. With the controllers, it's going to be, with everything linked together in the network that we're using, it's going to be a lot easier to control traffic and help with progression through the city. The pedestrian poles and the countdown signals will actually make things a lot safer for pedestrians crossing the streets of the crosswalks. And it would let them know, how much time they have to cross, because a lot of times you don't know how much time's left. You get halfway out there and it says don't walk.
Along with the changes to the signals themselves, handicap ramps will also become ADA compliant. The Americans with Disabilities Act of 1990, or ADA, is a federal law that gives civil rights protections to individuals with disabilities similar to those provided to individuals on the basis of race, color, sex, natural origin, age, and religion. It guarantees equal opportunity for individuals with disabilities in public accommodations, employment, transportation, state and local government services, and telecommunications.
The Americans with Disabilities Act, which is set forth by the Department of Justice, is set forth so that it makes things easier for those who have a disability to progress through the city as a pedestrian walking or in a wheelchair or with any kind of a walker. Now, there are certain specifications that are set forth with these ADA compliant ramps, where the slope can only reach a certain maximum slope. They have to be a certain width. We're going to be installing new truncated domes at the end of the actual ramp before you actually enter the street, to let someone who's visually impaired know that this is the beginning of the street and to stop there.
The new sidewalk program is one of Bowling Green's biggest undertakings of this year. It incorporates many different parts, including in-house design, construction, and excavation. This sidewalk job consists of 2 phases this year. The first phase will take approximately 100 days to complete, and the second phase will require an additional 100 days. The Bowling Green City Commission set aside $1.25 million to assist with this project. David Hayner has been working closely with the Sidewalk program by determining which locations receive priority. All possible locations were given a 0 to 20 rank, with 20 being the most in need of new sidewalks. These ranks were determined by many different criteria.
The overall concept with the Sidewalk project started off with just wanting to make the city more of a walkable community. 5 different criteria went into prioritization of different locations. One of the aspects is if there's a lot of traffic in a specific location, that causes it to score higher. The scoring was from 0 to 20 on each criteria. One of the other aspects is actual technical feasibility of each location. How hard will it be to actually construct a sidewalk in that location? One of the other aspects is financial feasibility. On some areas we've gotten grants and things like that, and that will allow us to construct more sidewalks than we may have been able to without that. One of the other criteria is connectivity. If there's a gap to be filled between 2 sidewalks, it'll cause it to score, causes it to score higher. And then if it's close to a school or park, that also causes it to score higher. And from those criteria, we came up with a sidewalk master plan, basically ranked for each of the criteria and gave each location a score. And the higher the score, those are the areas that have gotten higher priority.
It was also important for the planned sidewalks to work with the greenways projects happening throughout the city. A portion of the planned sidewalks will connect to already established greenways in order to make Bowling Green a more walkable and bikeable city.
The first part of construction that we're going to do that will connect to Greenway is Old Louisville Road. There's greenways out there down by the river. We met with the Greenways board and decided the sidewalk that we're going to be constructing will be, we can connect the greenways that are already existing. We'll make it a 6-foot sidewalk versus a 5-foot sidewalk, so it'll act as a greenways. Also, the location on 3rd Avenue is going to connect the greenways that's on Center Street that runs down Kentucky, I think, around that area. So those are the first 2 locations. As we go on with these fiscal year sidewalk construction projects, we'll be connecting greenways all over the city.
An additional $200,000 was also put aside for the City of Bowling Green Public Works Operations Division to add new sidewalks themselves. These sidewalks were added on 3rd Avenue from Park Street to Chestnut Street and on Wilkinson Trace Road in Heartland, stopping in Bent Tree. Gary Harden, Operations Division Manager for the City of Bowling Green, was key in getting the sidewalks installed.
The reason why they did the additional was to get the ball rolling, to get this thing kicked off. We thought we'd do it in-house so that we could see what the obstacles were, what we'd be going up against as far as getting new sidewalks in places where there wasn't any sidewalks, and just basically getting the ball rolling, getting a jump start on it. We probably did about 2,000 feet of sidewalks on our own so far. They was in various locations, and the ones that we was basically looking at was where there was no sidewalks at all, to see how tying these sidewalks together to get everybody from point A to point B where there was no sidewalks before. We did primarily 6 sidewalks, and they was just sort of in areas we looked around for them to see where the sidewalks ended and basically where there was a path at. If we knew that the sidewalk ended and there was a path that continued through the grass, then that would be a good place to continue the sidewalk on, take it to the next level. Usually, depending on what the obstacles and stuff are, we can complete at least a street from street to street on a block wise within about 2 weeks.
The new sidewalks and downtown signals will not only improve pedestrian traffic, but it will also improve access to neighborhoods and property value.
The process that we used for having community forums related to our new sidewalk program, I believe we had a total of 3 of those. And they were held at different locations around the city. And we provided folks with what we thought would be the criteria for prioritizing all of the sidewalk projects. So we brought out a map that listed some places where we thought new sidewalks could go. We asked them to add any additions or to make any corrections to that map. And then we also asked folks to comment on the set of criteria that were established for ultimately prioritizing in what order those new sidewalks would be built. You know, I think our new sidewalk program reflects such a commitment to our basic infrastructure. And I think a lot of times folks forget that sidewalks are a basic form of your infrastructure, and anytime you can improve that or you can upgrade that, it does increase your property values for one thing, but it overall improves the quality of the walkability in the neighborhood, and that's becoming more and more not just a recreational thing for folks, but it's becoming more of a lifestyle thing for folks. More and more we're seeing that people do want to be able to walk to the corner store or to walk to a neighborhood park or to school. And so by investing in that infrastructure, I think we're all going to see a benefit to our whole community.